Welcome back, everybody, to Cinema Daily US for another. Well, this time we're an episode of Queens versus Manhattan, as I'm Matthew Schuchman here in Queens.
And I'm Ed Douglas down here in Lower Manhattan.
And today we're going to be reviewing and talking about Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. A lot of people, of course, were waiting for this one. Ed, what are your initial thoughts on the film?
We're gonna jump right into that. Okay, well,
Yeah.
I was pretty disappointed actually. I was looking forward to this one. It was my most anticipated movie of the year, probably. I mean, I loved Fury Road as most people did, and I mean, first of all, it's about an hour where you don't even think Furiosa is just kind of there. She's kind of a little girl who's kind of like hanging out and being talked about, and it's really not until the hour in until Anya Taylor-Joy shows up and things start moving. But it's like that first hour. It's like what movie are you making here, George Miller?
Well, it's funny. I mean, I didn't mind that. I would say that as much as I don't love the movie. I don't think it's horrible, but it is a million times better than what I thought it was going to be based on the small trailer stuff I saw. There's a lot of stuff in the trailer that it makes you think that they're trying to go for one thing, and it's not the case. And I appreciated that. And while there are things that are being done differently in this one than other Mad Max type movies, and I appreciate them going against what they normally would do. I did find it weird. Like normally you expect the big finale to be the big desert 1,000 car chase, and this one goes for the more personal ending. And I appreciate they try to do something different, but I actually don't think that worked. And they actually kind of robbed us of this 40-day war. They just skip over all of it, and just kind of like let that way by the wayside instead of what they do is pack all of the action into the, I'll say, the beginning of the Anya Taylor-Joy sections of
Sure.
the movie.
Yeah, that's a great set piece. I mean, that set piece itself is very much in common with what he did in Fury Road. But I mean,
Yeah.
I actually didn't think it was that different. I mean, it's really interesting because I thought it was like he did a lot of the same things from Fury Road. It wasn't like that much of a departure from what he did in Fury Road, and it's sort of I mean, big difference is that Chris Hemsworth as Dementus, a character who I literally hated. I thought his performance was just like so over the top and ridiculous. And so like and his accent, he was just doing this weird voice the whole time, and it's like, and because of that, it took me. I mean, I never really recovered
It's
from the movie.
it's funny you
Yeah.
say that because not that I think it was a great performance per se, but I think they show again, like in the trailer, they show the most over the top section of his acting. So when I came to the movie and I felt that a lot of it was a little more subdued than what I saw in the trailer, I was like, oh, okay, I'm fine with that. And again, not amazing, not great, but just different than what I was expecting. Again, based on trailer kind of things that I did see, which I tried to avoid but saw. I do think it is weird that is, Mad Max being a series where there's no real official continuity, even though they're kind of tied together in a ways. But since this one is doing the real prequel thing, it actually does tie in to the events of Fury Road. And I think that there are a lot of randomly weird things that don't seem to fit in my mind. Like they have this weird, you know, technical Mad Max cameo that if they're trying to make me believe that was the same first shot from Fury Road, but I'm like, none of it doesn't seem to fit. Like, so you're telling me all this stuff happened 4 days before Max shows up, kind of thing, when it felt like those were years apart, and like
Right.
they're
Yeah.
kind of making the story go quicker than it should have. And again, it's a small thing technically, but it was very strange and I think out of place.
I want to hear something even weirder. And this gets into the visual effects thing, which I was disappointed. I thought the first movie, the practical visual effects stuff was so seamless and it was so good. And this one, it definitely seemed like he lent more on the visual effects. He lent more on the green screen. It was definitely not as, and I mean, maybe because tech technology has changed or he's doing things different because he's already made one movie and he figured. But I mean, the weirdest thing I heard, and I heard this just today on Anya Taylor-Joy was doing a talk show, and she was saying that they actually used visual effects to make her look more like Charlize Theron. They actually used stuff, and which I didn't notice on my first viewing, but it was
Well,
just kind of like that's a really weird decision. Like, you know what? If you're not gonna get Charlize Theron, why make that her look more like her?
there's two things about that that makes me think, because not anything to kind of do what you're saying, but I do think they found the perfect younger child to play a younger Anna
Sure.
Taylor Joy lookalike, kind of. I thought that was good, but yeah, going back to the visual effects, some of it again seemed a lot better than I was expecting. Again, based on those initial trailers, but there was like some stuff like that awful zoom in, zoom out of Chris Hemsworth in the truck as he's trying to ram the gate down in Bullet Town, so awful looking and
Hmm.
so distracting. But I think other parts of it looked fantastic. And I really did, like I couldn't help but get really into that first big, very Fury Road-esque um battle, we'll call it, when they're in the really shiny chrome war rig they built up. And again, he's always trying to do something different, which is sometimes a little strange. Not such in this case compared to other movies where it's like, hey, this is taking place in the past, but they seem to have newer, cooler things for
Hmm.
some reason. But again, he's doing something different a little bit. So he's got the guys with the fans and the parachutes, and I loved it. I thought that was great. I can't help it.
It's funny you mentioned the trailer because you mentioned the trailer a few times now. I actually have seen the trailer twice since seeing the actual movie, and seeing the actual movie and being really, really disappointed about it. And then seeing this trailer, and it's an amazing trailer. I gotta say, Warner Brothers, they cut a great trailer because the fact that you can see a movie you don't like and then see the trailer twice and go like, boy, that movie looks great. I want to see that movie. It's a testament to their marketing department for doing that. I'm not sure. Be curious how many other people. I mean, critics seem to be loving it so far. I seem to be in the minority in kind of
Again,
being
I
mixed
don't
on it.
love it. I don't love it per se, and we'll get our final grades very shortly here. The one last thing I will say again about like these continuity things, even within the story itself, the theme seems kind of strange. And I can grant that there are different things because there are characters who meet for a very short amount of time, so you don't expect them to remember each other for a very long time. But especially based on the conversations with Immortan Joe from Fury Road and
Mm.
Furiosa, you'd think that the history is a lot different from what they show here, and the fact that he's so mesmerized as her as a child, and then like it seems like they never show any kind of connection as if he now knows that was her and
Right.
as she grows older and just doesn't care or none. It just all seemed very strange in that fact. But we won't hold it off any longer because people kind of already know a little bit of how you're feeling. So what would you say your final grade is?
I'd probably give it about a C, I guess. I mean, I gave it 5.5 out of 10,
Mm.
which I think is about mid range, but it's a C. It's more negative than positive though. I mean, I feel like I was gonna go see it again in IMAX on Friday, and then I kind of said, you know what, I'll use my AMC A list for something else because maybe I'll see it in IMAX next week or I don't know. It's not a I'm not rushing to see it again right now. So
Again, more so that I was surprised that I was expecting to be disappointed,
hmm.
and again, not loved it, but had a better time than I was expecting. So I kind of I give it more of a B. I mean, frankly, honestly, if they gave me a whole movie of just her as the kid and did something around that, I would have been fine with that too. Didn't matter. So I'm going to go with a B as my final grade. So thank you, Ed, for talking about the film with me, and everybody for joining us here at Cinema Daily US. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, go Manhattan.
Go Queens.